Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I'm envious of her. I find what she does so exciting and how it breathes life into different areas, different places, commercial, residential. As an interior designer, it's all about the livable luxury. And she is back with us. We're going to talk about projects, processes, and all of that. Nicole Fisher is on the program. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back.
Good to have you back here. But you're busy. I know that you do residential. I know that you do um, very careful with historical design and working with, let's say, a building that's got a lot of history and keeping the integrity of that history. But also some commercial stuff that you're working on. Let's talk about some projects. I'm hearing something about at a ski resort. Like, what's going on there?
We are working on a ski chalet up in Windham, New York. Recently, the mountain became members only, and we're seeing a ton of people kind of flocking to the area. On Instagram the other day, I literally saw this helicopter that takes people from Manhattan up to the
Wow.
ski mountain. So they're trying to make it like really fancy. And I have clients here who have owned the property for over a decade. It's kind of notoriously been a little bit of a sleepy area, but with all this new money coming into it, they're ready to renovate because now they know they will get a significant return on their investment. So that's what we're working on now. The house was built in the 90s. It reads and breathes 90s. But what's
Yeah,
cool is
before you go on. Now, I'm trying to visualize that. When you say 80s, I've got that. I just
yeah,
see, sea foam and just, lots of gold,
right.
which is coming back, by the way. Uh,
Yeah.
right? 90s. What is 90s? How do you visualize 90s?
90s is really tacky wallpaper, like trim borders around all of the rooms. See a lot of like really deep reds and deep greens, really plush Home Depot carpet. Um,
Mhm.
you those gray or beige construction grade tiles, those square tiles that are just in a row. Um, and then a lot of like yellow beige, not pretty beige, like just where you just feel like it's just a little old. The cool thing about this house, though, is that it was all done post and beam, which means that it is a structure that kind of stands on its own. And it was done all with really beautiful reclaimed wood. So all of the trim, all of the floor, all of the beams and accents are all stunning. Um, but just everything else is super dated.
Wow. Um, Took me right back to the 90s. The thing that did it for
Was it the
me,
wallpaper?
yes, I did that. Actually, my ex wanted to, and I'm, hopped on that train. It's like I see it. It's like it
Yeah.
I completely forgot about it, and it was a home I built, a Victorian with the wraparound porch and a whole deal, and had that like Victorian-ish kind of look, but definitely wallpaper on the wall. And then, like you said, around the ceiling, and it could have been the crown molding, and then underneath that, you
Yes.
have that border that I don't know, I don't want to say matches, but accents. Ugh,
Right.
I got it now.
Yep. It's that trim.
Well, it took
I
me
know.
right back. That house was built in was finished January of '98. So yeah, it was right in
There
the
you go.
'90s.
Yep.
So with this ski chalet, kind of curious, and we'll move on to some other things in the process and all of that. But I'm curious now. You have to design it so it works in the winter, but they're also used, as summer homes as well. So
Yeah.
is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, these destinations have just become year round. I mean, these clients in particular certainly use it more in the winter, but I think once we're done with it, they're going to want to spend more time there. So, upstate New York is a serious destination in the summer. I mean, the foliage, the landscape, the the waterfalls. There's so much to like look at and see up
Mm.
here. So it really is quite a luxury destination to just pop up on the weekends.
Mm. And you don't even think of it that way. When you say ski chalet, it's, fireplace, um, place to, you know, change your clothes after skiing all day, and that's
Yeah.
it. It sounds a little more opulent than maybe what we're used to.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, New York kind of has this a stigma against it about the ski culture here. We
Right.
think like out west, we think Vail or Utah. But those mountains are getting so expensive. It's a fortune to just ski there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And the lift tickets, I mean, it's wild. So I am seeing a lot more money being put in on the East Coast where, it's a
Cool.
much quicker drive. It's like half the cost. Um, and it's you really can just get a very similar experience.
Want to jump into the process in a moment, but
Yeah.
curious about this. In the last, say, 6 months of projects that you've worked on or you're working on, is there one little piece of a project that stands out? And it could be anything. Like we all have our baby, right? So, maybe it's you put a railing in at the and you just love the way it looked. Any just piece of a project that kind of resonates with your heart.
I would say recently in January, we had a project get installed in Tribeca, and we had been dealing with so much chaos from the contractor this whole time that it almost soured toward the end of it. The client was just frustrated and wanted to get in. Um, so much so that they were concerned about the end product and it actually being like what we were going to give them, and they didn't want anyone there when they were going to see it. Part of our process is an installation. So we take all of your stuff and we bring it and we white glove deliver it. We set it up. Everything is, done. Pillows fluffed. Everything is perfect. So we do that usually over a week. And then the client's not allowed to come during that time. And then they come at the end and see how it looks. And then hopefully, they love it. And this client was so concerned about how it was going to look that she didn't want anyone there. She was like, just you. And,
Just
if
just
it's,
you and her.
yeah. Usually my team would be there. I mean, there's a lot
Okay.
of like people
Hmm.
that pour their souls into this. I mean, it's seeing the client at the end is like the most rewarding part of this job. Um, and she just wanted me, and she was very concerned about it and wanted almost freedom to be disappointed. And I knew that wasn't going to be the case, but we went the extra mile in kind of finishing it off. Um, all the lights were dimmed. I had jazz music playing.
Cool.
We had everything kind of just set up. She walked in there and
It's almost as
it's
like you have a
hilarious.
date. Like you have rose petals on the bed,
100%. Yes. That was the
candles.
only thing we didn't do. Yes.
Wow.
I had candles lit. I mean, it was an experience. And she walked in, it was just like jaw on the floor. I just walked into like the Greenwich Hotel. Like this is where I live. And that like moment was great because it was almost the first time I've been faced with such a concerned client toward the end of the project.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this is the fun part. This is where you get to see like where you get to forget all the headache that has happened over this process. But that was a good one. And that happened in January.
You don't know how it's going to go. However, I detect in you, you do know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Because you even said, I know it was going to be fine, but this is
Yeah.
the way she wanted to do it. She's the client, so of course, she wants her private moment with you and her new space. Um, do you feel that there's a little bit of and go with me on this, a little bit of intuition involved in what you do and connecting with people, in feeling what they want, picking up on maybe empathy, maybe picking up what they want, what they're seeing, their vision, what they're feeling, and how it's going along the way? Do you feel as if there's more going on here in terms of energy than just like Oh, you want this, painted and this furniture, all that in, and here you go. It goes
Yeah,
deeper. It goes deeper.
totally. It's such an intuition.
Mm,
It's reading someone's like vibe. It's reading their energy. It's reading like how they function as a person, as a spouse, as a parent, like as all of these things. And then the other side of it is just honestly it's confidence. I am really confident in what we do, and I'm confident in when I present something that I have read them correctly to be able to give them
yep.
the right end product.
I believe in that and most anything. Having that confidence in yourself, that trust in yourself is everything. You just
Yeah.
know. And when you know, you know. So I'm sure you picked up on her vibe, where she's going with it, why
Yeah.
she's asking for this over there. And you might even know her better than she knows herself because you're seeing it from a different angle. She might be stuck on something.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's got to be the railing's got to have wood on top. I'm telling you, that's what I want. That could be from her childhood, thinking that's the way it's supposed to be. Until you say, well, "Have you really thought about metal? It's trending right now. It'd be perfect." She's not seeing it that way because she's
Right.
stuck. She's running old programs in her mind.
Yep. I half of this job is therapy.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's such an intimate relationship that you have to get with someone that evolves naturally. But I know these people very, very, very well by the end.
Hmm. It's almost as if you're creating the perfect partner for someone because they spend so much time in their living space that they're so connected to it like it is human.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel
It's
like
a great way to say it. Yeah.
I love my bedroom. I shared it before, just the way it looks, the vibe, everything in there. And it almost is just like coming home to somebody you love. Like if door opens, like, yeah, rough day. Call the dog in bed, just hanging out there, cup of tea, watching TV, on the
Yeah.
phone, doing a couple of phone calls. But it's almost as if you're getting a warm hug from the room. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. That sigh of relief, that feeling when you like walk through the door is like ultimately what we aim to give them.
And I want to have the moments in my space, when I'm in that mindset. And then the phone was just like, mother. All right, I got to take this call. You just want to share time with your space, your living
Yeah,
space. The process. Now, that's what makes you and your team, Nicole, radically different. We do things a little bit differently. Tell us about that.
yeah, over the years we've really been fine tuning what that process is, what things happened that maybe we want to make better, what was lacking that we need to implement. And as the team grows, we're able to implement processes that just make this as much of a well-oiled machine as humanly possible. So when you inquire, there is a kickoff discovery call by a team member. If that's the right fit, I'll go do a consultation. I think at some point that role might be passed off to others as we grow, but I'm still very much involved in that initial client um, kind of meeting and coordinating what really needs to be done, what I think is the overall vision. Once they're kind of signed on and ready to go, our designated project manager who handles all of the things for the project that is more logistical, she has a kickoff call with the client and she runs through the contract. She runs through the process. She runs through what you can expect,
Hmm.
timelines, um, how we go about choosing an architect, how we go about bidding out to contractors, um, down to installation. And it's a nice addition that we've made because it just sets the tone for everything and really gives them like a little bit of ease and understanding that this is a process and there are so many people involved to make sure that it's as hands off for the client as much as possible. We like to absorb that headache of the process. So by doing that, they're able to kind of, see the pretty stuff when they need to see the pretty stuff and not be bogged down with the details as we go. Um, from there, we are doing the design. That is all the technical work, all of the sourcing, all of the pulling from wherever, whether it's from our shop or vintage, or we source a ton from overseas, and making that a really unique space for the client that we are going to then present to them. We present them with a whole visual. They're seeing, they're touching, they're looking at floor samples, they're looking at tiles, and then our team has also created like a rendering. So the rendering is more of like a 3D visual of what that looks like. Um, we handle all of the purchasing for the project. Everything goes to our receiving warehouse that's located in Poughkeepsie. From there, they're checking in, making sure nothing's broken, damaged, which unfortunately is like 50% of the things that come in. We're handling all of that on the back end and getting ready for things to be installed. At that point, the client has the opportunity of whether they want this Pinterest ready kind of space. So we've added this extra level where of styling if the client so chooses to want that. And that is an extra level of throws and tchotchkes and pillows and all of these things that kind of just make it feel a little bit more lived in. And
Hmm.
then we come in with truckloads of stuff, put everything in its place, get the mattresses delivered, make the beds, get the window treatments up, the carpets down, and they have to come home with their suitcase.
So little pieces here. I want to put a little microscope on. You said that when you get deliveries of a lot of the items,
Yeah.
did I hear you right? Like half the time, 50% of it is damage. You got to send it back. There in itself, I don't want to deal with that. Like I'm so
It's the
tired of going
worst.
to the UPS store, taking things back from Amazon alone. I
Right?
can't
Yeah.
imagine tables and lamps and all this stuff that why does it come damaged? Just be the shipping process?
The shipping, there's no sense of like authority when it comes to, you know, who's taking responsibility for this, who's wrapping this properly,
Mm.
who's ensuring that it's going to really get here in one piece. Um, I get it so many times we're dealing with like really fragile things, but that's all the more reason for you to take extra care um, to make sure that it gets here in one piece. Unfortunately, just the delivery world is very lackadaisical in their, handling of things.
And it has nothing to do with the vendors that you work with. I mean, they could be top-notch items, but
Yeah.
the shipping is the shipping. Some companies are great, some are not. You never know. And then things happen. Things happen
Yep.
along the way, but nice that a client doesn't have to deal with the minutia of, if you're trying to do a project yourself, don't ever even take it from somebody who's done
Oh
it.
man, it's a nightmare. Honestly, that's the worst part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if I ever said this before, but we're at this fork in the road. I tried doing it myself and searching for a house now. I will never, ever, ever do it again. And this was a backyard. It was an inside, but also I took on the backyard renovation. I don't know if I shared this, but I did a lot of the work. I'm geeky. I like running wires and all that stuff, and it was just fun. But manage the project, taking care of this, taking care of that, waking up at 3 a.m. Lots of different jobs, kids. Blah, 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 gave myself an ulcer. Legit.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. On my
Oh
birthday,
no. Sorry.
2016, it was at the point where, and I'm chill just like this, but it started festering as an ulcer. Didn't know what it was, but my blood pressure was so high from just what is this? The stress. I felt like my eyeballs were going to pop out of my head.
Yeah.
I drove myself to the hospital. Now, who does that? It was that bad. And for the majority of what was going on, it was the backyard. It was I had just moved to like a year before. Don't try this alone. I can't make that up. That is the honest truth. And
Yeah.
this is what happens, now layer on that. Oh, yeah, we got the cabinets and they're chipped. Now what? Now we have a
Right.
contractor already scheduled to come in. He's on the clock. Then we have that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want
Yeah.
anybody to deal with that.
It's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst is when you've waited like 4 months for this thing to come in and then it comes broken. Like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, it's crazy. That's certainly the worst part.
And we even said before, you get some really, really cool stuff from other countries like Portugal, Italy, um, and it's reasonably priced. You got to add the shipping on top of that overseas and such.
Yeah.
But you never know what you're going to get when you get it. That's the way it
Right.
is. Yeah. But again, I don't want to
So,
deal with it.
yeah. So if it's really special, if it's one of those antiques that we're getting in, we'll send it to like a furniture repairer who will mend the piece. If it's not something that could be bought again, if it's something where we're buying from a restoration hardware and it comes broken, that's an easy swap because
Right.
that's, like a stock piece. So it does depend on what it is, but I do try to find some element of a solution that doesn't require
Another 4 months.
totally another 4 months.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, again, this is why you hire somebody to take care of this for you
Yeah.
because they have a team, they have a process. I was just winging it. That didn't work. That didn't work. Never do that again.
Got an ulcer. Yeah.
I'll show you
I
my
can't
medical
believe
records.
that. It's awful.
I'm
Wow.
truth. And I look back and it's like you took on too much. I just took
Yeah.
on, with everything going on there. And I just moved the year before. So it was just bad idea. But you don't know
Mhm.
until you know. Now you know.
Right.
Your process, it just sounds spot on, where your team seems like they are very much in sync with each other. You feel that?
Yeah. It's taken a really, really long time to get there.
Yeah.
And I feel like more recently we have gotten there. And the biggest thing that I have had to do as a business owner is task people with things that are very specific and alleviate time for myself so that I can focus on other things. And when you have your hands in everything and you're not trusting people to do their job, you also have not gained any time back. So you're
Right.
not able to continue to, do what you're good at. And trust that I ask for my clients is like the same thing that the trust that, my employees ask for me. Just do what you do. And I'm going to
Yeah.
trust that you're going to do it.
And that's why they're there to do it. And yeah,
Yeah.
to your point, the focus should be on your purpose, where your strengths are, as opposed to, worrying about something that came damaged after 4 months.
Right.
You've got people to take care of that. Nicole, what's the best way to engage you and your team? Somebody's even just to start a conversation.
Yeah.
How do we do it?
The best way, actually, DMs on Instagram are awesome. So give us a follow, BNR Interiors. We're also at info@bnrinteriors.com. You can see the portfolio and a contact page if you want to get in touch.
Yeah. And you will go anywhere if it makes sense. But you're kind of based in the New York region. I mean, we talked about going upstate New York. You go downstate New York, Long Island, and all of that. But certainly start the conversation. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for alleviating the next ulcer because I'll be calling you when I get that house.
You
So
got it. Can't wait.
we're on it. All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.